It's a universal fact of parenting. Kids will ask questions we're not always ready to answer. Parents have been tackling tough topics for generations, but the modern world presents a whole new challenge: terrorism. Dr. Manny Alvarez is the senior managing health editor for FoxNews.com. His latest op-ed covers this topic on Fox News. So, Dr. Manny, I want to thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it.
Well, look, kids in America sometimes now are being forgotten by our government. They are being forgotten by our president. They are being forgotten by our leaders because we're dealing with terrorism. And, you know, in the old days, when you were able to explain a crime to a child, somebody robbed your house, you said, look, these are robbers, the cops are going to catch them, they're, they're after stealing something or drug abuse. You had specific agendas. But when it comes to terrorism in 2015, and you have soft targets, restaurants in Paris, people at a ball game, schools, this birthday party at this city center. Now you cannot explain the logic that you did before. And let me tell you something. Kids are very smart nowadays, and they see everything on TV, and they hear us talking about it, and they hear the radio. And one of the things that kids want is honesty, because they know when something's wrong. The only thing is, what do we tell them if the parents are also afraid and we have no honesty coming from our government? How can we be honest with them? So this is a challenge now for parents, because you know what? The kids need to know that we as adults, we as a government, we as a people are going to keep them safe.
Yes, but Dr. Manny, you always want to shield your children, and I'm certainly a new parent, and one of the things I find so striking about my daughter is how happy she is and how life is so beautiful to her. How do I explain evil?
Well, you explain evil, in every particular individual has to explain. The one thing that we cannot do, we cannot use race, color, cultures, religion to divide, especially the thoughts of children, because then we're committing the ultimate sin, which is something that God does not want. I have an autistic son, and the op-ed piece that I wrote had to do how I explain it to him. And what I say is, look, God gives the same beauty to every human being. However, sometimes in the course of life, you lose that beauty. Think of a rose. Rose is a beautiful flower, smells, the colors are beautiful, but if you cut off the bud, what are you left? You're left with a stick full of thorns. And that's exactly what a terrorist is. He does not want to see the beauty. He doesn't want to be around beauty. So whether it is a small child, a school, a church, whatever it is, they just don't want to see it. And, one of the things that I told them to do is to use prayer, because, we use prayer in medicine to help adults deal with high blood pressure, stress, anxiety. And I can't stand the fact that newspapers and politicians are saying that, forget about praying. You know what I told my son? I told him to pray for more flowers, for more beauty, and eventually we'll fill the earth with more beauty and we will eradicate. And that adults need to explain that, our government needs to explain that, and our president needs to talk to our children, because right now our children are frightened.
So what I'm hearing from you is that we all need to show strength and leadership for the next generation. But I mean,
absolutely.
How has the landscape changed for young children? When I was growing up, we would have drills for tornadoes. We wouldn't have drills for shootings at schools. How has the landscape changed for these children?
Well, it has changed it in every way. Right now, we're telling that individuals, kids go to school, they have to worry about bombs and shootings and everything else. So everything has changed for a child. It used to be that in America, a kid can go to the playground and have a good time, or walk down the street to his friend's house and have candy. Now all of that is gone. People are sequestered in their homes. And when more problems evolve and our government doesn't help us resolve those problems, we become more and more sequestered. So what do you think our kids are looking at? They're looking at a world that has no order. They're looking at parents and adults that are also frightened, and they don't have any answers. And this is ultimately going to help. It's going to endanger their upbringing. Look, the world is always full of problems. In every generation. But in most of the time, even in World War II, our leaders took time to explain the fear to children, and they gave them a sense of security. Now nobody, especially our government, is not giving security to our children.
Right. Well, Dr. Manny Alvarez, you have a great op-ed, How to Explain Terrorism to a Child, on FoxNews.com. Everyone at home should check it out. Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
You're welcome.